a string of chilling crimes, innocent lives stolen, and secrets that will leave you breathless. What really happened to these children? And who could commit such unthinkable acts? Stay with us as we dive into the darkest corners of these haunting cases and uncover the truth behind the horrors.
Sometimes the darkest stories come from the most peaceful places. Today we delve into the tragic and unsettling case of Alesha Sarah MacPhail. Alesha MacPhail was a bright and joyful 6-year-old girl from Scotland. In July 2018, she was visiting her father and grandparents on the serene Isle of Bute for the summer holidays. On the morning of July 2nd, Alesha was reported missing. Just hours later, her body was discovered in a wooded area not far from her grandparents' home. The community was left in shock and disbelief. An investigation quickly unfolded, leading to the arrest of a 16-year-old boy, Aaron Campbell. Initially denying involvement, Campbell later confessed to the horrific crime. He had abducted Alesha from her bed, sexually assaulted her, and took her life in a cold and calculated manner. During the trial, Campbell's lack of remorse and chilling details about his actions horrified everyone. He was sentenced to life imprisonment, with a minimum of 27 years before parole could be considered. Alesha's death left a permanent scar on her community. Her story serves as a heartbreaking reminder of how fragile life is and the dangers that can lurk even in the safest of places.
April Marie Tinsley was an 8-year-old girl from Fort Wayne, Indiana. She was a bright and happy child, loved by her family and friends. On April 1st, 1988, April was walking to a friend's house when she vanished. 3 days later, her body was found in a ditch. She had been sexually assaulted and murdered. The community was left in shock and fear. Despite an intense investigation, the case went cold for decades. However, in a horrifying twist, the killer taunted the community by leaving disturbing notes on bicycles and in mailboxes, claiming responsibility for April's death. In 2018, advancements in DNA technology and the use of genealogical databases led investigators to John D. Miller. Miller confessed to the crime, finally bringing an end to a 30-year mystery. He was sentenced to 80 years in prison. April's story is a testament to the resilience of her community and the power of modern technology to bring justice, even when hope seems lost. Her memory continues to live on through the advocacy for missing and exploited children. Asifa Bano was an 8-year-old girl from Kathua, a small town in Jammu in Kashmir, India. She belonged to a nomadic Muslim community and loved spending time with the horses her family reared. In January 2018, Asifa went missing while grazing her family's horses. Her body was discovered a week later in a forest, showing signs of sexual assault and brutal violence. The community was devastated. The investigation revealed a horrifying plot. Asifa was kidnapped, drugged, sexually assaulted, and murdered inside a Hindu temple. The motive was to terrorize her community and drive them away from the area. The main accused included a retired government official, his son, and police officers. The trial was swift by Indian standards. In June 2019, 6 of the 7 accused were convicted, with 3 receiving life sentences and others 5 years in prison. The case highlighted deep-seated communal and political divides in the region. Asifa's case sparked nationwide protests and led to changes in India's child protection laws, including the death penalty for those convicted of raping children under 12. Her story remains a haunting reminder of the need for justice and humanity.
Some crimes are so haunting that they leave a lasting scar on an entire nation. Today, we revisit the chilling Baneheia double murder case from Norway. In May 2000, Lena Slogedal Paulsen, 10, and Stein Sophie Sørstrunen, 8, were enjoying a warm spring day near Baneheia Lake in Kristiansand, Norway. their joyful outing turned into a nightmare when they never returned home. After an intense search, the bodies of Lena and Stein were found in a remote area of the woods. The girls had been brutally assaulted and murdered, leaving the entire community in shock and grief. The investigation led to the arrest of two men, Viggo Christiansen and Jan Helge Andersen. Andersen confessed to the crime and implicated Christiansen, who maintained his innocence. Andersen struck a deal and received a lighter sentence, while Christiansen was sentenced to 21 years of preventive detention. The case took a controversial turn as new evidence and questions about the forensic testing emerged. In 2021, Christiansen's conviction was overturned, leading to his release. The case is now seen as one of Norway's greatest judicial scandals. The Baneheia Case not only brought immense grief, but also sparked debates about judicial practices and evidence reliability. The memory of Lena and Stein continues to be honored by their community. Heaven Awot, a 7-year-old girl, was brutally raped, mutilated and killed by her mother's landlord Getnet Bey in Baneheia Amhara region, Ethiopia, in August 2023. At the time of the murder in August 2023, Heaven's mother was at work and the girl's aunt, a 15-year-old guardian, was informed by Heaven that she was going to the bathroom and did not return. Suspicious, the aunt attempted to find Heaven but was unsuccessful. Later that day, Heaven's younger 3-year-old sister found Heaven and informed the aunt about Heaven laying outside. The aunt found Heaven's body at the entrance of her home, her body strangled and mutilated, sand along with water and pebbles stuffed in her mouth. Her genitalia was completely torn and damaged so badly that one could easily see her spinal cord through it. Getnet was sentenced to 25 years life in prison. The murder has heavily sparked public outrage, who demand appropriate punishment for the assailant, and circulated in social media.
Kamarie Holland was a sweet and joyful 5-year-old girl from Columbus, Georgia. Her bright smile and playful nature made her a cherished part of her family and community. In December 2021, Kamarie was reported missing from her home. Just hours later, her body was discovered in an abandoned house in Phoenix City, Alabama. The discovery sent shockwaves through the community. Police investigations led to the arrest of Jeremy Tremaine Williams. Holland's mother, Christy Marie Sippel, was also arrested as a suspect after her involvement in her daughter's death was discovered. Sippel had agreed to allow Williams to have sex with her daughter in return of $1,300, and Williams, who filmed the sexual acts, killed the girl by strangulation after raping and sodomizing her. After Holland was taken into Williams's vacant house, Williams raped the girl and also engaged in sodomy and oral sex, and he personally filmed the sexual acts and also forced the girl to consume methamphetamine. After doing so, Williams used a ligature to strangle Holland and therefore killed her by asphyxiation. Even after Holland died, Williams went on to commit further sexual assaults on her corpse and similarly filmed the necrophilic acts. On April 15, 2024, Russell County Circuit Court Judge David Johnson sentenced 39-year-old Jeremy Tremaine Williams to death for all 4 counts of capital murder. On top of the 4 death sentences, Williams was also sentenced to life in prison for production of obscene material of a child and human trafficking, 20 years jail for conspiracy of human trafficking, and 10 years jail for abuse of a corpse. On March 13, 2024, Christy Sippel pleaded guilty to sex trafficking and faced a potential sentence of up to 20 years in jail for the charges she admitted to. Before making her plea agreement, the prosecution decided to drop the murder charge against Sippel, which allowed her to no longer face the death penalty for murdering her daughter.
Lilly Peters was a 10-year-old girl from Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. Her bright smile and adventurous nature made her a beloved member of her community. On April 24, 2022, Lilly went missing while walking home from her aunt's house. After a desperate search, her body was discovered near a wooded trail. The community's worst fears had become a reality. The investigation quickly led to the arrest of a 14-year-old boy, Carson Peters, who was later revealed to be a relative of Lilly's. He confessed to luring her into the woods. where he killed her first and then sexually assaulted her body. The chilling nature of the crime left many struggling to comprehend such brutality. During the trial, the juvenile suspect faced adult charges, including first-degree intentional homicide and sexual assault. The community followed the proceedings closely, hoping for justice for Lilly. Lilly's death brought immense grief, but also strengthened the community's resolve to protect its children. Her story is a tragic reminder of the dangers that can exist even in familiar surroundings. Some stories are so tragic that they leave an indelible mark on the hearts of all who hear them. Today, we explore the heartbreaking case of Nurashura binte Mohammed. Nurashura binte Mohammed, affectionately known as Nonoi, was a 2-year-old girl from Singapore. Her bright smile and innocent nature captured the hearts of everyone who knew her. In March 2006, Nonoi went missing. After a desperate search, her body was found submerged in a pail of water at her stepfather's home. The discovery was as shocking as it was devastating. The investigation revealed that Nonoi had been killed by her stepfather, Muhammad Ali Johari, during an alleged attempt to exorcise evil spirits from her. The cruel and senseless nature of her death deeply disturbed the nation. During the trial, Muhammad Ali Johari was found guilty of culpable homicide. He was sentenced to 20 years in prison and 24 strokes of the cane. Many felt the punishment could never truly account for the life of an innocent child. Nonoi's death led to widespread discussions about child protection and the dangers of superstitious practices. Her story remains a poignant reminder of the vulnerability of children and the need for vigilance.
Some stories are not just tragic, they ignite an entire nation's demand for justice. Today, we explore the heartbreaking and harrowing case of Zainab Ansari. Zainab Ansari was a 7-year-old girl from Kasur, Pakistan. She was known for her sweet smile and bright personality. Her story, however, became a symbol of the fight against child abuse and injustice. In January 2018, Zainab went missing while on her way to a Quran class. After a desperate search, her body was found in a garbage dump. The autopsy revealed she had been sexually assaulted and murdered. The community was heartbroken and outraged. The investigation faced intense public scrutiny. It was soon discovered that Zainab's death was part of a series of similar cases in Kasur, sparking protests and demands for accountability. Eventually, DNA evidence led to the arrest of Imran Ali, a local resident. Imran Ali confessed to his crimes and was quickly brought to trial. In a historic move, the court sentenced him to death. His execution was carried out later that year, bringing a sense of closure to Zainab's grieving family. Zainab's case led to national reforms, including the Zainab Alert Bill, aimed at preventing child abductions. Her story remains a stark reminder of the need for child safety and justice.